Kirby Air Riders, I've been taking the game slow, playing each mode one at a time. So slow, in fact, I haven't even jumped into City Trial within the main game. Like, I've only played it in the demo. I'm taking it that slow. I just went through the single player campaign of Road Trip first, and I went through that twice, and now I am going through everything that I could possibly do with the Air Ride Racing mode. And I have been playing for over 5 to 6 hours of just pure racing, and I have a verdict that I need to talk about here. Let me start off by getting some things clear. I am not leaning one way towards the other yet. I think there's elements of Mario Kart World that I do feel are better, and I think there's elements of Kirby Air Riders that I think is better. And that's why I'm not rushing out like a lot of people and making a giant comparison video yet until I fully get everything out of Kirby Air Riders. That's what I did before I made the big review of Mario Kart World. So until I do all the challenges that I want to do, rank as high as I possibly can, and get a full experience, I'm not going to be comparing the entire base of both games. Also, before we get started, I want to add that yes, you can compare Mario Kart World with Kirby Air Riders. I know it's not the same type of racing game, so that's why a lot of people say it's hard to compare the two, but both games do have a racing mode, a battle mode, a single player mode of sorts, and an online mode. So we're going to be looking through all of those one at a time for now until we get into the whole video review for both games, but today, obviously, just racing. And let me tell you, I am extremely enjoying the racing in this game. Now, at first, I thought the racing was going to be very slow and nowhere near as fast-paced and chaotic as the original game, and that was just because I was playing the demo and playing against computers because that's the only way they let you play at first, which I still, looking back, think is a dumb idea. They shouldn't have even let you play any races in the demo at all if that's what they were going to do, because I got a very bad taste in my mouth with the demo. But after playing online with real racers at top speed, clashing into each other and zipping around every corner, this mode is chaotic fun like I've never had, and I'm not joking. Now, we'll just straight up say, is it a perfect racing mode? No, there are some issues that I've had. I mean, at least some small issues. There are certain characters with special abilities that will literally grant you wins if you use your ability at the right time. My main personally is Meta Knight, and I normally put him on the wheelie bike or wheelie scooter, but I think having a character that can fly really well and dash ahead of everybody else is something that's really beneficial, and that's why I also like Starman. I'm not being a cocky, egotistical jerk when I say I literally don't think I've ever lost a race on Fantasy Meadows, like ever. On normal 2-lap length tracks, I normally get my special right around the start of the second lap, so it's never that big of an issue with other tracks. But some of the shorter ones, like Fantasy Meadows, which is like 3 extremely short laps, yeah, you get your special at like the perfect time, like, which is just a little after the start of the 3rd lap. And with Meta Knight, like, you're just gonna win. Like, there's no way anyone's gonna stop you. You just, you know, continue pushing forward, and right before you enter that windmill, pop your special, and you dash forward so quick, no one has a chance to even catch you, no matter how many walls you're hitting. Now, that might seem bogus and unfair, and this is only really a situation that I've noticed for a select few tracks, and I mean literally just a couple of tracks in the game. The only other ones I can think of is Nebula Belt, which is a returning track, which is very, very basic if you remember it. Literally, there's nothing going on. It's funny because this track itself just feels like Mario Kart World. It's all about specials and items, and that's what's going to cause you to win. If you're front running, you're probably not going to win on this track because everybody's drafting behind you on your trail and boosting ahead of you on that final stretch. Mount Amber Falls is yet again another one. You normally get your special right at that waterfall area, and then going down to the final stretch, it's just literally a big straight line as you go down the side of the beach. And if you have a good item, you're going to win. If not, you're probably going to lose. If you're front running, you're definitely going to get passed by the other racers. But besides like one track in the game, that being like Nebula Belt, every other track in the game I find to be highly entertaining. I mean, I know in Mario Kart World, there's like 10 tracks where I see if it's chosen, I kind of roll my eyes. I'm like, all right, we'll go here. But with Kirby Air Riders, almost every single track that they choose, I'm ready for. Like, they are all really unique experiences with tons of unique layouts and tons of shortcuts that you got to learn and figure out, and depending on the machine that you have, you can take completely different routes every time you play them. It's funny too because I feel like the classic tracks from the first game are some of my favorites still. They're just so well designed, and I still feel like I'm moving 10 times faster on those tracks compared to the new ones, and maybe that's because a lot of the new tracks have a lot wider roadways. I'm not sure why. I don't know if it's to accommodate more players, where the original was only up to 4, where now it can be up to 6. And it's not to say that the new new ones are bad at all, but there's just something to be said about tight, confined tracks, and the old game did that the best, and playing all these old tracks again still felt like new, even though I grew up with all of them. I also think there's something different about racing on these old tracks, but this time with real players instead of just CPUs. And I will say Mario Kart World's mechanics are phenomenal, being able to wall ride and rail ride, and when you're given the opportunity to actually play the 3-lap tracks, you can really experience these to the full. But at the same time, there's a lot of tracks that do almost the same things with Kirby Air Riders. There's so many rail paths that you can find, and I'm not just talking about the automated ones, I'm talking about there's so many additional paths that you can find. Just doing the challenges, I was learning about all these additional grind rails on some of these tracks that I never even knew existed. And you can take some pretty insane shortcuts if you know what you're doing. One of my favorite parts about this game is just the takeoff and flying, and that's why I love the Winged Star so much, and even the brand new Paper Star, because flying in this game feels so satisfying. You have full control and you can easily go where you need to. That was one of my major issues with Mario Kart World, where the flying feels bulky, almost like it's a parachute holding onto a tank. It's just so hard to move and do what you want to do, and it doesn't feel like it's doing anything super different in comparison to past Mario Kart games like Mario Kart 8 and Mario Kart 7, where the glider sections just feel like intermission cutscenes that you have to sit and watch, where you have little control to what happens when you glide. It's just kind of like you're gliding to the next section of the track. You can't find shortcuts this way, or you can't go off the track, and you can't find hidden secrets. You're just going to slowly glide, and this game changes that. Now, I'd be lying to you if I said there weren't matches where I felt like I shouldn't have won, where I just cheated the whole lobby, or matches where it's the vice versa, where I should have won, where I've been leading the entire time and driving perfect, but still got passed because of items or just, unlucky moments of specials being popped behind me. But out of playing for almost like 5 hours, I really haven't had too many instances where I felt this way. Most of the time, I've been pretty good at this game, and after finding my meta and knowing all the shortcuts and everything, I get first or second place very consistently online, and I'm playing ranked mode right now, currently in, I don't know, I like the ranked mode, but you can't even tell what rank you're in half the time because like there's no label or anything, it's just like a yellow diamond of some sort. Is there a way to even check the rankings, like to see what's next? I haven't been able to see if that's a thing yet, but either way, I've been playing ranked for a while. I'm like 3 ranks up now, and yeah, I'm very consistently in the front of the pack, around the top 3 almost every single time, and yes, skill does matter in this game. I feel like items do not control or dictate the game. Specials, about 80% of the time, do not control or dictate the game, since the fact that everybody gets their specials around the same time, and they run out if you try to hold them and bag, so this game prevents any sort of bagging or anything like that, which is also a huge plus. And I also like how there's no track voting, because you're not going to have people picking the same tracks over and over and over again, and you don't have to worry about intermission tracks popping up. It's just a random track chosen, everybody jumps in and plays. So you can get a better variety of tracks, where in Mario Kart World, I feel like there's times where I'm playing the same track over and over and over again sometimes, because people are just so addicted to a specific track. Speaking of tracks, this game's equivalent of what seems to be like Rainbow Road is so freaking good. Not only is it extremely cinematic, and not only am I terrible at it, sorry, I literally just unlocked it as you're watching this video. This is like my first time ever being on the track, and I was just amazed. I was too busy just looking at everything, and I was just like, dude, this is awesome. You actually go inside Galactic Nova, and you're just driving through the facility on the inside, and it's just, like I said, so cinematic. It's actually really well designed, and I think that was my only issue with Mario Kart World's Rainbow Road, where it's a beautiful track, but it's very simple to drive. It's just kind of straight paths, where this throws everything at you: ramps, tight turns, air vents, top paths, bottom paths, everything, and it's just so much fun. Not to mention, the track ends with an awesome cinematic of you blasting through the heart nucleus of Galactic Nova, and it just exploding in the background as you're flying away. Like, dude, Sakurai freaking cooked! I feel like the racing in this game is at its worst when it does have a couple of segments of straightaways, whether it be at the very start or the very end, which is in particularly the worst, is when you're at the last stretch and it's just one straightaway and you're at the front of the pack and everybody's riding your wave at the back and just passing you at the last second. Feels kind of awful. And yeah, that's my only real complaint, and it's only with a couple tracks that has those final straightaways. Normally there's a lot of, tight turns or quick shortcut sections that you can hit at the very end to take the lead, and it feels so satisfying when you do so. I also don't find myself getting angry with this game, which I have anger issues, okay? I love to be competitive, and Mario Kart World drives me through the roof, with getting blasted by items every 3 seconds, smashed by someone behind you, just so much chaos. And believe it or not, this game that's known for chaos doesn't have anywhere near the amount of chaos that I've experienced in Mario Kart World so far. I feel like 90% of Mario Kart World is just getting attacked or attacking other racers, where in this game I feel like 90% of it is pure racing. You won't be targeting or trying to hit other racers that much. You'll be too busy focused on hitting shortcuts, hitting your boost ramps, and just making sure that you finish without falling off the track or running into the walls every 3 seconds. And I found myself even sitting here right now wanting to go back and play more. Like seriously, after playing for that long, I want to play even more. And I think the incentive is because at least there's a reason to do so. There's challenges to unlock, and there's an actual ranking system where you can try to get higher and higher ranks and move up in the ranks. And at least from right now, it doesn't look like you ever go down in rank. It seems like even if you have a really bad match, you just stay where you are, which is something that helps me in my anger really well, because there's been a couple of matches where I did really bad and I noticed that I just didn't move at all. Now maybe it changes as you get higher up and eventually you can lose points, but as of right now I haven't really noticed anything like that. But just having a ranked mode period gives people reason to play online. It gives people reason to jump online and play the game more, or to boot up the game when you haven't played it in a while just to see if you can go up in a higher rank or not. And I just touched on the fact that there's missions, which means there's a challenge wall for each of the 5 main modes. Well, there's 4 main modes and then there's an online challenge wall. But you can pretty much go throughout this challenge wall and complete these little challenges that the game has for you, which is super fun, and once again, it gives me a reason to play the air ride mode and every other mode in the game, where I literally am looking at challenges. You can click the plus button where it will set up a game for you to get that challenge. It will change the settings for you, make it easier for you to get what you need to get, take you exactly to that track. It's so intuitive. And some of these missions, I will say, are kind of bonkers. I really didn't get stuck too long on too many of them, besides one that once I learned what they wanted from me, I was like, this is stupid, but all right, let's try it. For instance, there's one mission on Celestial Valley where it has you not jumping on any of the grind rails. So it was kind of cool because you had to play very careful. So I just went into a computer lobby, put one computer up, and just kind of spent time barely moving in certain segments to not jump on a vine or even the tracks for the mine carts. But for instance, you can't touch the waterfall either. I had to look this one up because I'm like, what am I doing wrong? I'm not touching any vines. But you cannot touch the waterfall because it's programmed to be a rail system, which is stupid, and it's just like, how would anyone know that? There's some that are a little bit ruined though because of the settings that you can change. I mean, you can still make it hard on yourself. For instance, some of them say, go throughout the track without touching a single enemy. And I've done a lot of these, just the normal way, just trying to dodge every enemy slowly. Sometimes there's just way too many though, until I learned that, yeah, you can go into the settings and literally just turn off enemies and then do it that way, which is kind of cheating. I can't believe you can actually do that, but still I was like, you know what, yeah, sure, let's just do it, because some of those tracks, it just feels impossible. But most of these missions are pretty simple, yet still fun to do and rewarding to unlock, because some of them can give you characters, costumes, new tracks, new parts for your machines, new machines, yeah, and they're like still fun missions. Like some are just straight up find all the gold boost pads or finish a lap in this amount of time, and just messing with the settings, you can get a lot of these very simply. But yeah, I just thought it was really cool, and they gave me incentive to try different characters, different machines, and also just to go back and keep playing these tracks and learn these tracks a lot more. It's no secret, since the Kirby Air Riders Direct, I have very much favorited Kirby Air Riders over Mario Kart World, simply because of all the effort that Sakurai was putting into this game compared to the effort that was put in Mario Kart World, and I feel like for that alone, that should be celebrated. After waiting 11 years for the next Mario Kart game, it just feels like it's so bare bones with its mode, with its collectibles, with its extras, where Sakurai went above and beyond with just the second and the only other sequel we'll ever get of Kirby Air Riders, which is, it just feels good. As a gamer, it feels good to be appreciated. It feels good to not be taken advantage of, and to actually have a game that feels like it's worth $70. There's so much content in this game. I haven't even dug into the other modes. Like I said, that doesn't mean every mode hit with me. Personally, I was not a big fan of the single player mode, and I'll talk about that in a separate video. But today I just wanted to focus on the racing and just how positive it was for me, and just how much of an experience that I want to just keep enjoying over and over again. And I haven't even jumped into what seemed to be the real meat and potatoes of this game, obviously being the city trial mode. So yeah, I gotta get back to probably trying that now, but thank you so much for tuning in, and let me know what you thought of the Air Ride racing mode in Kirby Air Riders. Do you like it? Do you not like it? Is it too fast? Is it too complicated? Is it too simple? Let me know down below, and how do you like it in comparison to Mario Kart World? Thank you so much for tuning in. Make sure you leave a like and subscribe before heading out, and I hope you all have a blessed day. See you guys.